Welcome to Bomb Anime. It's your girl,
Ruka.
A big boy Sam here, bringing you another episode of Hot or Not.
Today, Dr. Ramune, mysterious disease specialist, is in the hot seat, so let's judge. Creativity. So I like the concept when your body feels stressed, you can get a mysterious disease. And I liked this because I felt like it was more of a comment on like your mental state, such as depression, things that people go through. Like they had the whole thing that normal people can't see it, your mental state, no one can see it, you're the one experiencing it. And I also liked the truth serum idea because I do really believe that a lot of unhappiness is self-imposed, and we do this through like fear of consequences, fear of what's going to happen, fear of judgment, you know, what are people going to think of us, fear of losing others out of our lives. And so we'll make ourselves unhappy in order to be more accepted, and that can make you very unhappy, especially if you're in one-sided relationships where you're giving and no one's giving it back. It can be very tiring and stressful and hurtful to your mental state as well. That's kind of how I perceived the whole thing.
I like the concept of the mysterious diseases. I like the way that they likened it to a cold. When you're tired and you're feeling low, you can catch colds through bacteria and viruses or whatnot. So when you're stressed and feeling some sort of psychological or emotional ailment, this is where the mysterious illnesses come to play. And I like the magical analog to psychotherapy and stuff like that. I thought that was really cool. To be honest, what really got me in creativity was the shoji cams. I thought that was like a magical version of like spy cams and nanny cams and whatever, which reminded me a lot of Dr. House sort of thing, like, you know, House, the show about that. Yeah, it reminded me how he used to get his people to go into the patients' houses just to get the truth of the situation so he could diagnose them better. So I really like that concept, as well as the teapot of truth and the contact lenses that just keep it all bottled up inside and do a good job. And I thought that the contact lenses looked like pills, and I thought that was like commentary on what society does with depression and mental illness sometimes, rather than opt for the counselling route, which was what the teapot was. The pills, contact lens analog was the medical route, and one of them hides the symptoms, whereas the other one allowed you to live with the symptoms. That's the kind of thing I got from it. I didn't like the fact that they call it mysterious disease. I thought that the concept was so cool that it deserved a name.
I just want to say no disrespect to anyone dealing with any mental illnesses that are actually taking medication for it. We do understand here that in the real world it is important to do what's best for you. So go ahead with your bad selves and do whatever is best for you.
Cheers, Rika. I like the way you tried to save me there. Like, yeah, obviously I'm not saying that taking medicine's wrong, but I was just saying that it might have been a commentary from the creators of the show.
Yeah, I get that. Entertainment. Shoji vision. I really liked that idea. The fact that he was basically getting in a window into what he thought was the issue. Also, the opening of the show was really interesting. I loved it. I liked the way that they messed around with different types of images. They had that grainy kind of like old television view for some of the shots, and I'm guessing that that is the people who are dealing with these mysterious diseases. And also they have the eye, so everything was being seen through the eye, which of course was the shoji vision as well. So I really liked how the opening actually was dealing with perception, because you had that contrasted with the really sharp, really colorful images of these smiling, happy people. I felt like they were dealing with perception, what people see versus what's really going on beneath the surface. But the mom was really irritating me. It was ruining my entertainment a little bit, because the mom goes from, in flashbacks, being this really caring mom to then giving 0 Fs. Like, okay, I get it. Her child is a child star and she's getting money from her child, but that doesn't necessarily mean that she should go from being such a loving and kind parent to being this horrible person that can't even be asked to cook a meal. And the meal that she actually got for her child was like a half-price meal, like in a freaking box. She didn't even, it was still in its bag. Like, come on. There's levels to this. Like, I feel like if someone was going to treat their child in that way, they already have some kind of something in them that will allow them to do that. And then she just switches again back to the nice mom. It was just too ridiculous and too unbelievable. I just didn't enjoy that at all.
So for me, entertainment, I like the fact that stuff was like they never gave you the whole answer straight away. Let's look at the teapot. In my head, while I was watching it, I thought, oh, it's the tea bags that were doing the truth telling and whatnot, but it's not. It was the actual pot itself. The shoji cam looked like it was just a label or a calling card or some sort of logo for the thing, but it wasn't. I like that kind of stuff, and I thought that was pretty cool in terms of giving us a good entertainment. Also, I really like the method in which he used to cure the patient. It seemed like the same steps that a doctor would go through if they were trying to diagnose something. I can say in my personal experience, I don't know many doctors who actually try to diagnose it. You tell them the symptoms and they try and give you some drugs and tell you to get out. But he actually went through the steps, gave her the medicine, and then watched to see what happened before actually coming in to do a proper job so that it wouldn't come back again. And I really like that. It gave us a big window into Dr. Ramune's character. It wasn't just about the patient. It was about the chemistry between Dr. Ramune and Koro. It was about the chemistry between the mum and the daughter. It was really good, and I liked the way the show was put together as a whole in that sense.
Character development. So I actually liked the way Dr. Ramune and Kuro walked up into Koto's house, disregarded everybody, acted like they weren't even there. That was funny. That was like my favorite moment with the two of them. And I also liked that although Dr. Ramune was kind of a bit of an ass in the beginning, and also from the trailers as well, I already had a perception about Dr. Ramune. I thought he was going to be this ass, but then you actually saw that he was actually really sensitive. Deep down, he really is compassionate and cares about the patients, and you saw how he was crying at the movie about the mom and the daughter. I like that they layered his personality straight away. Again, messing with perceptions. Right out of the gate, they make you think one thing about him and then all of a sudden he's something else. It's exactly what you were saying about the teapot and stuff like that. I liked that they carried that through with the characters as well. But of course, like I said already, I did not like the mom's character. It just seemed too ridiculous. That's not going to happen. And unfortunately, I feel like because these episodes are so short and it seems like they might want to deal with an issue one episode, cut that, go to the next episode to deal with something else, certain things are going to get rushed and they're not going to be able to fully develop people. So I think that the characters that we're going to have to stay concentrating on is just Dr. Ramune and Kuro as well. But they did do a good job with Koto. She was a very believable character. You know, she was clearly distressed about having to live in this life. She was trapped and she couldn't tell the truth because it would hurt her mom, and that's the person she loves most in the world. However, what I didn't like was what Dr. Ramune did with the contact lenses. He said, oh, she has to make this choice herself, which I agree with. It is something that she's going to have to pick for herself. However, he didn't give her all of the details. How is she supposed to make an informed choice as one, a minor, and two, not having all of the information?
I want to focus more on Dr. Ramune. To me, he seems like a humanist, and I feel like we get a lot of opinions through him. He cares about the choices people make. He cares about his patients. He will fight hard to make sure that they're okay properly. And I really like that they built that sort of layer. Just like Ruka said in the beginning, I thought he was a bit of a douchebag as well, but looks can be deceiving. And he showed that, you know what, his number one priority is making sure that his patients are okay. For me, what clinched it in the episode was when he talked to the mum and was like, all her stuff had been destroyed. And he was like, well, your daughter could have been destroyed just like that. If you want them back, which one would you like? Would you like me to give her an arm? I can get you some of these stuff back maybe. And he really drove home the need to make sure that her daughter's feelings were brought into account. Also, the interaction between Kuro and Dr. Ramune, I like it. Their chemistry, the way that they interact, and him getting punched in the head all the time is just really, really awesome and entertaining. The mum's personality, though, really rubbed me the wrong way. I also thought it was inconsistent. You can't just flip 180 from good mum to bad mum just like that. You didn't go with your daughter to the doctors, but you want her to sort the problem. What are you, nuts?
Even if she didn't care, she would still take her to the doctors because she wants the money, she wants what's going to be provided from the child, so she would do what was in her power to make her better so that she could do her job, but she didn't even do that. So you're right, it was very inconsistent. That was the word I was looking for, and you hit the nail right on the head. World building. So I liked that the world was quite believable, and because I felt like the world itself is the human condition, and I quite liked that. It kind of reminded me of Paranoia Agent without all of the
bad stuff,
darkness, you not being able to cope in life. It was still quite lighthearted with the animation, but I did feel like some of the scenes felt quite jammed in there for really no reason, and it kind of ruined it a little bit for me with the world building, such as them practicing facial expressions with each other. It came out of nowhere, it was just shoved in the middle. But what they could have done instead of doing that is actually pad out the characters. The mom, although she wasn't in it very much, was a very important part of the puzzle, and they mishandled it. And instead of doing all these little weird scenes that seemed to come out of nowhere, they could have used that time in a better way.
I like the world because it's the real world that they're trying to inject magic into, and that's great. I mean, it's been done a million times, and I don't think they did a terrible job, because it did feel believable at times, you know, with his methodology and how he was going to actually treat the patients, and with him just being a normal person, sometimes he looks like a douchebag. However, if it's the real world and you're a practicing doctor, I did not want to see any payment whatsoever. How do you live your life? Because you're healing these people, and I'm not seeing you ask for money, but you need to put the roof over your head, you need to pay for the bills. Love and harmony don't pay the bills, bro.
Good point. Execution. I'm in two minds. Of course, I feel like the mother character, yet again, it does ruin a lot of the execution because, like I said, it was such an important part and it was so mishandled. It has to be mentioned again, I'm sorry. So that did ruin it a bit. The world itself was quite believable. The medicines were like therapy, like you said. It felt like it could be real. Plot execution, I think, is probably the weakest.
From the beginning, especially from the opening, you were given sort of clues as to how the show was going to be. The music was fun, but the visuals were also fun, but you could tell there was something off. The chemistry between Kodo and Dr. Ramune, that was good. Koto's character was good. I mean, we could follow the plot the whole way through. This is one of the few animes that could have benefited from having a longer screen time per episode, so that they could have got stuff in, and that was my issue with the plot execution.
To the verdict. So, Big Boy Salma, creativity, hot or not?
So for me, it's definitely a hot. The concepts are good, and I can't wait to see more of the weird ideas that they're coming out with.
Definitely a hot for me as well. I really did enjoy the creativity. This was a really, really strong section. Entertainment.
For me, definitely a hot as well. I definitely want to see the next episode and the next few episodes.
It's again a hot for me as well. I thought it was very entertaining. Character development.
So I was kind of teetering on the edge between hot or not with this one. However, for me, it's a hot with room for improvement. One bad character doesn't mean that the whole characters wasn't good for me.
For me, it was on the edge as well, but ultimately I have gone with not. This is because of the inconsistencies, and I feel like if they carry on in this vein where it's like some of the characters are good, some of them are bad, especially if it's going to be a character that is of a lot of importance to the episode, it really needs to be spot on. Please don't rush it. What I feel like they should have done is maybe done an episode and a half of this, and then halfway through the episode he gets the second patient. You don't have to do it just in one episode. It doesn't have to be like that. World building.
I ragged down about the whole money issue with the world building, but actually it's a hot for me, and what made it a hot for me was the fact that they used magic, not like most animes, but they use it as technology, and I really like that. It's a hot for me.
It's also a hot from me, really for the same reasons as you as well. It was quite interesting that they used it as technology. plot execution.
Unfortunately, this is a not for me. They didn't do quite enough.
It's also a not from me because I just don't think they did enough, but I do feel like the plot execution will naturally improve with time, as it does with most animes. So Big Boy Sama said hot for 4 out of 5 and I said hot for 3 out of 5. So it is still a hot technically right now for both of us.
Don't forget to like, subscribe and share.
And thank you so much for listening to our episodes. I really appreciate you guys. We're noticing the follower count go up and up and up. Keep supporting. And finally, peace.